stack. High yields on stable coins, yeah, that's where my bag at. All I really need is Wi-Fi, get money on DeFi, mega cash on MetaMask. You better run when the runners run, show you how to get your money up. Dollar inflated like bubble gum, markets are jumping like double dutch. Buying up gold till I get a ton, crypto, yeah, I got some. You better run when the runners run, you better run when the runners run.
All right, welcome in everyone. It's Tuesday, January 14th, 2025. We just got back from Cali. So I got to see my brother Ricardo Hamilton out there. Man, I'm excited. I'm glad you got back home. You're feeling better, ready to rock and roll. Let's do this.
Yeah. Pumped up. And folks, you know, we are fired up about this market. We fired up about the opportunity. 2025, man, and had a phenomenal time in Cali, and we back at it here for another phenomenal Runners Live show. I hope you guys plug in. Get ready to like this out, share this out. The information that we're going to share with you right now is going to take you into the next level, you know, of the blockchain with RWAs, and you know, it's information that people need to know. So I'm excited for the show, brother.
Yeah, you kind of took the words from my mouth there with next level, because as cryptocurrency evolves, as regulations evolve, you have to evolve with them.
Yeah.
And, you know, what we found out in California, the people we met, it was just really reassuring to see their experience, their expertise, their transparency of knowing how to move in the space with the regulatory compliance issues that have kind of been the crutch of crypto, right? This is kind of what we're all waiting for with Trump getting into office, is regulatory clarity.
Yeah.
So that people can follow the rules and laws, and this new economy of cryptocurrency and blockchain can grow like it never has before.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a time.
So I have prepared, you know, because again, like we always talk about, guys, this comes down to education, right? I just posted something, Mims, that cryptocurrency adoption has grown faster than the internet and cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the internet and cell phones had lots of regulations, right? I mean, even just to get a cell phone tower up, you need, you know, who knows how many regulations and such. Right now in cryptocurrency, I think the two biggest narratives people need to pay attention to are AI agents and real world assets. Because as we know, cryptocurrency is very volatile. We have a 4-year cycle. Things go up, things go down really quick. But once we merge blockchain with real world assets, I think that's going to give a lot more stability and certainty in this market. And so, Mims, we're going to try tonight to, as you would say, make it make sense, to make sure people understand how huge real world assets are going to be when it comes to tokenizing them and putting them on the blockchain.
Yeah, you can't ignore RWAs, and I would have to add ISO tokens. Obviously XRP right now is going crazy. You have to get into the ISO 20022 compliant blockchains. AI is definitely a narrative for this bull run, and then of course RWAs is going to be huge. And you know, we're moving into the whole new economy. Regulations are here. You know, they're coming. Crypto friendly government. You know, full integration with the whole global banking financial system. So it's an exciting time to be ahead, you know, early to these assets, you know, and to this opportunity.
Is the key is spotting a trend and positioning yourself with a company that is ready to grow. And so again, we just want to keep it really simple, very basic tonight, so you guys know what we're excited about and where this industry is going. So on the left side here, we have things that are off chain, which would just mean in the real world, right? We have dollars, whether they be digital or physical. We have commodities. You know, we love gold and silver. You have oil, corn, soybeans, every, you know, plant grown in the world. There's a commodities market in. Then you have your stocks like Tesla and Apple. You now have carbon credits. Of course, you have real estate, you have bonds, you have fine artwork. So for really, since the beginning of time, these commodities have to be traded physically, exchanging them in the real world, right? Or we now have these derivatives markets and stocks where sadly manipulation and fraud run rampant, whether it's short selling, hypothecation. I think, what is it? For every real ounce of silver, there's 400 fake paper ones.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, at least. So Mims, anything that you want to add just as we look here of what we're talking about when you say RWA is real world assets that are on the left, and then looking at tokenizing them to have a global trade on the blockchain that has trust and transparency on the blockchain side because it can't be faked, duplicated, or copied.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, so folks, just look at it like this. We have obviously assets in the real world, but we have a rigged and manipulated market of these assets. And so now we have, because of technology and blockchain, we have the ability to take these real world assets, okay, and now we're providing that security and that trust in these assets. But the beautiful thing is that we're early to the transition of these real world assets from the old rigged and manipulated financial system to the new financial system on the blockchain. And so, those who get, to these assets and to these opportunities and to this technology first are the ones who are going to benefit massively from that transition. And so that's what we're doing. And we're going to help you put yourself in position to do is to benefit from real world assets that people have already been making millions and billions of dollars on in the traditional markets, except it's been rigged and manipulated. Like Mike talked about the shorts and naked short selling and everything else and derivatives, right? But now we have that on chain, on the blockchain, and you being early to that is going to put you in position to win massively because of the benefits of the blockchain and the technology.
Yeah, and I want to give a really key example that everyone will get. So if you guys are watching this right now, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, or X, go ahead, like this, share it out, tag a few people who would love to know about tokenizing real world assets or how to profit from them. And if you guys have any questions, you feel free to drop some comments. We can get to those later. But I want you guys to comment right now. How many of you think GameStop, right, got screwed over by the big banks and Wall Street and the hedge funds? So GameStop, Roaring Kitty, there's a movie called Dumb Money. If you guys remember, it was like the little people all came together and said, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to keep buying GameStop stocks. And they kept buying and buying and buying, and the price went up and up and up. And all the hedge funds, all the Wall Street big fat cats were shorting it. They were naked shorting it. So they were shorting it with stocks they didn't have. And what ended up happening? The powers that be, the people who controlled every centralized authority, froze trading, cut them out, and basically screwed over the little man and gave all the money back to Wall Street, back to the big banks. Shorts, yes. With this tokenization of assets, that is a thing of the past. Now, the individual people, it's a democratization of assets. Now, those huge centralized authorities cannot control what is done or what is created because it's verified on the blockchain. So, Mims, that's what gets me excited about this.
Yeah, transparency, trust. That's what the blockchain and decentralization does. A lot of the rigging and manipulation that we've been seeing, it stops. because of the blockchain. That's the power of the blockchain, and when you bring that to RWAs and a lot of other things, all the benefits that the blockchain afford is available, and this is why we're going to see all these assets tokenized and become be put on the blockchain.
And so let's, again, we're here for the little people, but you do have to look at the market leaders in this space. So BlackRock is the biggest financial asset manager in the entire world. Their CEO said, "We believe the next step going forward will be the tokenization of financial assets." So I want to hear from him just for a little bit to gain perspective as to what the biggest hedge fund managers in the world are doing right now.
There's no audio, Mike.
All right, let me try that again. Tabs open. There we go.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed, every beneficial owner, seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Okay, I want to make sure you heard that. Tokenization of, tell me what word he says here. Tokenization of.
I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger, that
Tokenization of securities and distributive ledger. Mims, make it make sense to make sure everyone grasped why those two words that he used are so huge.
I mean, they're giving us the blueprint. They're giving us the guide to where we need to look to benefit from the largest wealth transfer in history. Okay, this is why we get excited when I hear Trump saying we're going to make it the crypto capital of the world, and he talks about certain projects. This is why we get excited when we hear Larry Fink just clearly explain to us, tokenization of securities and tokenization of assets, and so we need to find those blockchains, those opportunities that are facilitating that wealth transfer on chain. They're telling you where the money's going to move, and we get to be there first because we know, where the money's going, but we also have access to the opportunities and the assets and the blockchains that are going to facilitate that wealth transfer. So that's why it's so powerful, because normally we didn't have access to this. They could talk about this stuff all the time, but it was centralized. They would lock you out. You had to be a accredited investor, things of this nature to benefit from that. But now, because of the blockchain, it's open to everybody. It's open to everybody. And so that's huge. When you look at this opportunity, the wealth is laid up for the meek. The meek shall inherit this wealth that's coming. Okay, for those who get into the right assets. And that's why we're excited, because we know where this is going and we know what to do.
The barrier to entry. That is what has kept most Americans struggling generation after generation. In order to get into these type of investments in the past, you had to be an accredited investor, which basically meant you had over $1 million of liquid. of liquidity. So they basically just said, hey, unless you're a millionaire, you can't become a millionaire. You can't get into all these great projects, all this residual income. You need $1 million to do that. If you don't have $1 million, you can't play. And so the tokenization of assets specifically on the blockchain, I think will be the greatest wealth transfer in human history, as we have been talking to you guys and telling you about this for a few years now. So this is just a projection. We ended 2024 with about $1.5 trillion of tokenized assets. This year alone, that is going to double to about 3.1 and then 5.2, all the way up until we are at 16 trillion in 2030. And to be honest with you, Mims, I think they might be underestimating how huge this is going to be, because I don't even see real estate on this projection. The sky is almost the limit here, because basically everything that is owned in the real world can be tokenized, and I think will be. So Mims, I know this is the first time I think you've maybe seen this slide, but you probably had a pretty good idea this was going to be the case. So your reaction to just what the future of RWA could mean for the normal everyday people out there who were restricted and gate kept from these opportunities in all of human history.
Yeah, there's certain blockchains. There's certain the way you want to look at this is the long term. Okay. Don't look at this as the quick flip, because obviously you can see that over time the market is just massively increasing. And when you find the right projects, the right blockchains, the right opportunities that are facilitating, leading the way, blazing a trail, okay, for that transfer, you obviously are going to benefit massively, because you're just that early. We're just so early to this space. And so, a lot of people are relying on the 40-40-40 plan to work 40 hours a week, okay, for 40 years of their life, to retire on what 40% of what wasn't enough in the first place. And when I look at the projections of these assets, and I understand what's taking a place on chain and the blockchain, and when you look at just holding the right assets for 5 years can change your life better probably than your 401k would working and holding that for 40 years.
Yep.
Okay. Being early to a lot of these projects is just massively beneficial. And we've been preaching this for a long time, but it's like Mike said in the beginning, and I always say, education is the most, important asset in this space. So, and you don't know what you don't know, and you won't know unless somebody tells you, And so that's why we're telling you right now, we're giving you education. So when it's time to, participate, in these opportunities, in these assets, in these blockchains, you have the working knowledge, okay, to get a better understanding of what you're getting into, so you can properly leverage yourself into these assets and put yourself in position to change your life forever. Because even at this point right now, there's still about 7% of people in the blockchain and crypto space in the world. Everything is going on chain. Everything is tokenized. And you're that early, but you want to know the solid plays, the solid sectors, okay, the solid categories that you want to be looking at, that you want to be investing in, that you want to be participating in. And RWAs is one of those sectors. Okay. It's one of those sectors for sure.
And when I was in California, this is just a great story of why this is so huge. So I was checking into the hotel, and there were two receptionists, or, people at the front desk. And, of course, the California fires were going on. So, we're kind of talking about that. They were probably, I would guess, in their low 30s, right? 32, 33. And they were just talking about how expensive these houses were, the real estate. They were just saying, just a basic house, like literally just a box with 1 bedroom and a bathroom will cost you $1 million there. And I mean, they're working front desk at a hotel. So literally their chances of owning a home are probably not very good, as with most people in California. We went down to Laguna Beach. We're looking at houses that are 2-3 million that back where we live would just be run of the mill stuff. So sadly, home ownership in real estate is out of the reach of most people. And again, we talked about how this tokenization of real world assets can get rid of that barrier to entry. So now, or the old way, right, you have full ownership of real estate. If you want to get $1 million house in California or a 300 grand house in Michigan or Maryland, you got to do it all yourself, and you got to go to the bank, and you got to go into debt. Now in the future, we can have fractional ownership of real estate, so that rather than going to a bank and paying that interest and jumping through all their hoops, you will now be able to have a security token where different investors can have a fractional ownership of your real estate. Now, that doesn't mean they can tell you what color to paint your house, but it means that when you do go to sell, you're going to have to, follow the contract and agreements that you signed with them when you tokenized your house. And that allows you to get capital. It allows you to increase your liquidity without going to the bank and paying the interest and having your house at risk. So, Mims, I just think this is going to be, we'll watch a video to break this down a little bit more, but I think giving people a chance to actually own some real estate, even if it's fractionalized, can eventually change family trees and lineages and family traditions that might have been locked out of these traditional markets with the way things used to be done.
Yeah, I mean, this is, the blockchain, I like to look at it as like it's decentralizing the wealth. Okay.
Yes.
This is empowering. It's, it's liberating, what the blockchain, this technology is allowing people to do and be able to participate in. And it doesn't matter, where you are in life per se. Because when you fractionalize, and you're able to get the asset, small amounts of the asset and still benefit without, from the asset. And, that's just, so empowering, because most people don't have access because they don't have enough to, work with. But because of the blockchain and fractionalization, a little bit can go a long way. And I talk about multiple streams all the time. If you're relying on one stream of income, you're a disaster waiting to happen. Well, because of the blockchain, there's so many ways that you can deploy your money and acquire these assets and benefit. And so, this is why it's just important that people understand, like, you want to get in now. You want to get educated now. Those are the people who are going to see, the massive benefit from it. But yeah, this is the decentralization of wealth. This is the opportunity that you've been looking for. This is why I've always said, if you didn't come from a wealthy family, this is the opportunity to make sure that a wealthy family comes from you. And it comes from you getting educated. It comes from you, acquiring the right assets, participating in the right ecosystems. That's, what is available to everyone, today. But it just comes down to, getting educated and taking action. But yeah, I mean, this is the largest wealth transfer in history. And, tokenization of assets is something solid. It's not speculation. It's not hype. It's not hope. There's a lot of hype, hope, and speculation in the blockchain and crypto space. A lot of stuff you see now is not going to be there. But anything that's tied to the real world to substantiate its value has a greater chance than something that's just riding off of hype and speculation. So this is what gets us excited, participating in real world, opportunities that are dealing with real world assets.
Yeah. And it's about, understanding this space, whether it's with blockchain, with the regulation. So really, that's what gets us excited, is connecting with a network of people, a community who understand, one, how to tokenize assets. Number two, how to move in this regulatory space. So we'll talk about this at the end, but we do have a special family and friends kind of small window that we want to make sure that we get you guys in who have been following us for so long and understand the value of real world assets. So this is the last video we're going to watch. Again, we're just trying to educate you guys and break this down so that you fully understand how huge this opportunity is. And Mims, let me know.
Ahead is exciting, and the journey is just beginning. The Federal Reserve has also offered an insightful perspective on tokenization. In a research paper titled Tokenization, Overview and Financial Stability Implications, the institution delves into the transformative potential of tokenization. The paper highlights how tokenization could open doors to markets that were previously inaccessible or cost prohibitive. The road ahead.
So I just want to make sure everyone grasps there that the Federal Reserve is putting out papers on this. Okay. BlackRock is talking about it. The powers that be understand this is coming and they're getting ready for it. So those who take the first action, the first mover's advantage, are going to benefit the most.
Imagine being able to purchase shares in residential investments that were once out of reach. That's the level of accessibility we're talking about. The Federal Reserve also emphasizes the advantages of programmable crypto tokens and smart contracts. These technological marvels can introduce features like liquidity-saving mechanisms in settlements. Such mechanisms could drastically reduce the time and cost of transactions, making the market more efficient. The innovation of tokenization could lead to more competitive liquid markets and improved price discovery. It's clear that the academic world is recognizing the potential of tokenization in reshaping our financial landscape. Though still in its early stages, tokenization's potential to expand the crypto ecosystem is undeniable. Its innovative approach is poised to lower market entry barriers and enhance liquidity. This means it could democratize access to investments.
And I think about that before, and I'll stop here because I know XRP or Ripple at some point, or you might
enhance liquidity. This means it could democratize.
But to me, this is what it's about, right? Democratizing access to investments. For far too long, the average ordinary people have been kept from the wealth, from the access to it, from just the ability to even make the decision to get into it. So lowering this barrier of entry to where people can get started with just a few dollars into, assets they could have never dreamed of doing in the past, to me, is what gets me excited when it comes to real world assets.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in regards to Ripple, yeah, I mean, people at this point, if you don't know, you need to find out. Okay. XRP, Ripple, is going higher right now. It's one of those assets that anybody who's in the know knows that that's something that you hold. I hold XRP for the long term, but yeah, XRP is definitely, one of those assets that you want to have in your portfolio. And the thing is that we're so early. We have access to the ETFs haven't came yet. There's a lot of excitement and momentum, getting ready to take place, on chain, on the blockchain. But yeah, Mike, yeah, I get excited about XRP, brother. But yeah, RWAs and these narratives, ISO tokens, ISO projects. Yeah, you definitely want to be in position. Now is the time.
100%.
Access to investments, opening doors to individuals who may have been previously excluded from these markets. Consider the landscape of projects already in motion. We see tokenization efforts spanning a variety of asset categories, from real estate and fine art to intellectual property rights and franchises.
So we got the intellectual property. So we were out in, LA area, meeting lots of people who know lots of people. And we don't want to say any names right now, but we may have gotten some connections to some music artists that you've heard of. You can actually, right, tokenize your royalties from your music, from your intellectual property. So I think lots of, whether it's movie stars, people who've written books, people who have created music. I think they're going to love doing this because if you own your intellectual property, typically the only way to make money from that would be to sell it, and then you've lost it. Now you can tokenize it. Imagine if you could own a piece of, insert your favorite band, right? Dr. Dre, Eminem, NWA, whoever. You could own a piece of that royalty and have it be tokenized to where it's giving you disbursements quarterly or yearly or whatever it is. I mean, to me, Mims, this is just, normally as a fan, you buy some memorabilia, you buy a poster, you buy a CD. Now you can buy part of the royalty because it's tokenized. I mean, this is like, what a time to be alive, Mims.
Yeah, it's next level. It's next level. That's why you got to get educated. That's why you got to follow the right people. Okay. That's why you got to get the right education. And that's why you got to take action. You don't want to be on the sidelines watching this wealth transfer, these assets and these opportunities. You want to be in the game. Okay. You want to take action. Definitely.
That's it. That's why you run with the runners.
Each of these initiatives, the adaptability and versatility of tokenization. Moreover, tokenization offers a level of transparency and security that traditional investment models can't match. This, coupled with the potential for fractional ownership, could transform the dynamics of investment, making it more inclusive, accessible, and efficient. We're signaling a future where tokenization plays a pivotal role in the digital asset ecosystem. Tokenizing real-world assets isn't just a passing fad. Its immense potential lies in its ability to revolutionize investment and ownership paradigms. By breaking down barriers to entry and increasing liquidity, tokenization opens up new avenues for individual and institutional investors alike. It's about making the inaccessible accessible, the illiquid liquid, and the complex simple.
I love that last part there, right?
Liquid, and complex simple.
That's it. That's what gets me excited.
Folks, it's going to be huge. It's just, we're living, to be alive in this time. Like you said, what a great time to be alive, to watch and witness, this whole zeitgeist change, the world view on assets and everybody getting access, this great awakening, and what's taking place on chain and in the blockchain. Like I said, the whole world is not even in crypto yet. There's so many people around the world who are unbanked, who are not tapped into the traditional financial system that can now, participate because of the blockchain and own fractionalized assets, and be a part of those blockchain, invest in those blockchains, invest in those companies and fractions that are, moving billions and trillions of dollars, global, payments and transactions, data and information. This is, don't mess this up. Don't mess this up. Think about the long term, hold the right assets, follow the right people, get the right education, and take action.
Yeah. So right now, guys, we have a very limited window to get our family and friends into a project that we have been looking at and researching. So reach out to either Ricardo or I, so that we can fill you in on the details and get you in early, because you always want to have the first mover advantage. But we're very excited about this and want to get as many of you on board as possible, as soon as possible. Just found this today, Mims. RWA.xyz gives us a global market overview. This is, the coin market cap, CoinGecko, infinite market cap of real world assets. So right now we have $15 billion on chain, still very early, 82,000 asset holders, only 119 asset issuers. And most of these assets on chain now are just stable coins. It's $1. It just means there's $1 in a bank somewhere, and they have signed the agreements and contracts to say, okay, there's $1 in the bank here. We'll put $1 on the blockchain. So this is like super elementary stuff, right? And you guys can see here, the total RWA value. Last bull market, it wasn't even barely a thing. And it's gone up from 3 to 15. And again, remember, that's during a bear market when the market's down. Price is not going up. And we went from basically 9 billion in 2 years, right? And you can see here, what is it? Private credit, I'm pretty sure, is just stablecoin. And then you have US treasuries. So for the most part, all that's really been tokenized mostly is stablecoins and treasuries or bonds. That's basically it. You got some commodities, you got some stocks. So you can see here, most of it's private credit. Then you have US Treasury debt. I think private credit, I think that's stable coins, I'm going to imagine. We can see the new issuance volume, the league table. So you can see there's a lot of, right now, of course, everything's building on Ethereum. It's hedge, right? Institutional money. But of course, as we all know, anyone in crypto, the issue with Ethereum is high fees, very slow. Yeah. So there's going to be competitors, right? People are going to want to find a better way to move value than FUD Ethereum or say it's bad, but it is slow and it is expensive.
Well, yeah,
we can see Arbitrum, which is a layer 2, has gone up the most in the last 30 days. Again, Aptos and Base as well. So again, guys, this is, just more documentation of what's going to happen. And we're just giving you that education of where it's going, what's going on, and how to position yourself to make sure that you win.
Yeah.
And you get in early is probably the biggest thing that you can do right now.
And you guys saw in there XLM, okay, huge. And a lot of times when we talk about XRP and XLM, it's the projects inside these ecosystems that you want to get educated on and you want to get a position in. But look, we're fired up and excited because we're always finding and putting ourselves in position to get early in on revolutionary projects that are setting a standard, blazing a trail and a trend. And so, like Mike said, we have a limited time here, a short window to take care of the friends and family. So reach out to either Mike, okay, if you know Mike, or reach out to me. If you're gonna message me, just message me RWA. Just send me a message RWA, and I'll send you what we got. But it's exciting time, folks. It's exciting time. There's real world projects out here, and you just want to take action, take advantage.
And I'm going to go ahead and manifest something here, Mims, as we close out. What if there was a resort in Tulum that we could tokenize? What if there was a way for you to own a piece of a resort in Tulum, Mexico? I'm just trying to dream big here, guys. That's all I'm saying. But one day, you may see us at this resort talking about how we're going to tokenize this real world asset in Tulum. So great show tonight, guys. Had fun educating you and getting you exposure to real world assets. Let's give a little alpha here, Mims, okay? I think we both believe that when Trump gets into office on Monday, he has put out some very, very bullish, positive tweets in the last week. So everyone's kind of thinking the crypto market will probably really start to take off next week. And I don't want to get too crazy here, but my research in RWA, this could be the end of the very volatile 4-year cycle in crypto, right? Because typically crypto goes up because Bitcoin goes up because of the halving that happens every 4 years. But if billions and trillions are flowing into real world assets that continue to make money every month because people are going to the resorts, they're living in the homes, they're using the businesses, I think that's going to severely damper or cut down on the volatility we have seen in crypto thus far. And as any market gets bigger, you're going to get less volatility. And I think real world assets are going to be one of the main drivers of lowering that 4-year cycle swing that we have seen thus far. But Mims, I'll give you the last word. So
Yeah, I would say I agree on that last part. You know, when you look at ISO compliant blockchains, and when you look at how is money, trillions, quadrillions of dollars going to be moved across the globe, obviously that's going to change the way the market works, and you're not going to see that type of volatility that we're seeing that in crypto because it was just based on what Bitcoin was doing and speculation and other projects. Now the flick the switch moment will have taken place where you're going to see the quadrillions and trillions and quadrillions of dollars moving into these blockchains, moving into these ecosystems, moving into these projects. It's going to be turned on. The data, the information, the money, it's going to be moving constantly back and forth. So what we're used to seeing in crypto is gone. That's not even a speculation. That's just obvious with the type of money that's going to be moving globally on chain. And that's why it's important that you're involved in the real assets. You know, a lot of these blockchains, a lot of these cryptos, they won't be around. They're not, you know, a lot of it's speculation and hype. You want to make sure that you're following the right people, getting the right information, acquiring the right assets, and, you know, getting in position. So, you know, this is the time, folks. This is the time. Lace up. Let's get wealthy.
all right. Love you guys. We'll see you next week. Have an awesome week. Get your buys in. Trump is coming into office on Monday.